and welcome to the Dev Morning Show at Night. I am your host, Cassidy Williams, and I am accompanied once again by my lovely co-host, Zach Plata. Hey, Zach.
Hey, Cass. I heard you underwent some interesting events over the past week.
I did. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. I still have some haze, but it's very exciting to not have glasses anymore with LASIK. And speaking of seeing clearly, I am so excited to see our latest guest, Taylor Poindexter. Welcome to the show. She is a software engineering manager at Spotify.
Thank you, Cassidy. But so I lead a team called Discovery, and basically what we do is we focus on account management within Spotify on the advertising side. And I know advertising is not sexy, but the way I make myself feel better about it at night is we allow people to have the free version of Spotify. So the advertisement money comes in, people get free Spotify, the world is good. But right now we're working to make the advertising portion of the platform a lot more efficient and allow other advertisers to get on the platform more easily.
That's awesome. I was definitely a holdout for getting Spotify Premium for a long time, so I'm very familiar with those ads. So thank you for the free music.
And really, you're doing your part, so it's okay. You're helping contribute, listening to the ads. Thank you, guys.
They're pretty clever anyway, so
keeping me employed.
Yeah.
This is a blast to the past. I took a humor writing course way back in the day, and they said one of the assignments was to write like a hyperbole statement that you wanted to just go to the extreme with. And my example was Spotify ads. And it was a whole essay on like how I'm going to defeat Spotify. They will never make me pay for premium because I will just listen to those ads forever. And so I'm feeling it right now.
But you caved, right? You bought the premium now?
It was a family plan. It wasn't my choice.
Okay.
My husband was just like, stop being dumb, and bought it.
Against your will. Okay. All right. Well,
Fine.
I feel like for me, it's like I'll do it for a while and then I'll be like, no, I can live off the free plan. And then I do it.
It's fine.
And then it's like, oh, no, I don't like this.
Yeah, you're just like, but I do want to listen to that one specific song.
I know.
And I don't want to just wait for the shuffle until you finally get it.
For me, that's YouTube, because I'm always like, oh, I should probably like pay for this because I'm sick and tired of the ads, but I'm just holding out. I'm just holding out.
I'm also a holdout for YouTube. I haven't let go of that yet.
Never.
Speaking of ads, it's time for our lovely ad read. The Dev Morning Show at Night is a sponsored podcast. I mean, someone has to pay the bills around here. We're sponsored by LaunchDarkly, and LaunchDarkly is the first scalable feature management platform. That means dev teams can innovate and get better software to customers faster. How? By gradually releasing new software features and shipping code whenever they want, fast-tracking their journeys to the cloud, and building stronger relationships with business teams. Thanks for the money, LaunchDarkly.
Taylor, could you tell us what your day-to-day looks like?
Yeah, honestly, so before this, I was a software engineer, and I would say the biggest shift is like I used to come in, sit behind my computer, hammer out tickets, but now my day is basically everyone else's. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I'm in a lot of meetings. And outside of that, I'm basically just interfacing with my team and trying to figure out exactly how I can make their lives easier and how I can remove blockers for them. In addition to obviously finding ways to make sure that our processes continue to become more efficient and making sure that I'm investing in my engineers so they can continue to grow in the ways that they want to. And that can look a lot of different ways, but my day, and right now a lot of hiring. We're doing a lot of hiring, which is exciting. So like my day is typically like a smorgasbord of those types of activities.
Do you ever miss the coding side of it, or are you happy to be in the management track?
It's a catch-22 for me. So I got into management because I knew what it was like to have a bad manager. I knew the impacts that can have on you. And I feel like I'm a pretty good people person and I'm very empathetic. And so I wanted to give that to other people. But I am not going to lie. There are some days where I just want to focus on, one or two things and like have my day be its own. But that's not really the case anymore. And I do struggle with that at times. But overall, I'm very happy with the choice I made.
It's one of those things where like, it definitely is a balance. Like you do want to kind of own more of your day, but the fact that you think of management that way and like your day is not necessarily your own, you're unblocking your team and stuff, that tells me that you're an awesome manager. Because so many managers out there are just like, I want to be in charge of people and tell them what to do. And so the fact that you are approaching it as like being the resource for people that you wish that you had is really awesome, and more managers should be like that.
Thank you. And I would say if anybody out there does just want to control people, you shouldn't be in management. So,
It's true.
take that
There you
training
go.
or leave.
I love that take. So, what kind of tools do you use on a daily basis? Whether it's the occasional time you do code with the terminal or editor, what are you using at work?
Yeah. Honestly, the sad part is the first thing that comes to mind is Jira. Looking at a lot of tickets with my fellow PMs and whatnot, making sure things are going smoothly. Yeah, but outside of that, since I do still try to stay active in the dev community, like I was even trying to do a little coding coder today, and it was kicking my little booty.
They
but
always do
they
those little
always
tricks.
they always do tricks does. But I typically just use VS Code and iTerm if I want to just like tinker on my computer a little bit. Um, but then also Spotify has something called Backstage that I dabble in a little bit as far as like resources for the team and everything like that to keep things organized and have places for folks to go. But most of my tools are process related now.
Cool. Is Backstage like an internally built tool?
Yeah, but we actually sell it to other companies. So other companies use Backstage to organize their documents and share technical information as well, which I thought was pretty cool.
Huh. I had no idea. I'm going to look that up.
Yeah.
So before management, before this, you mentioned that you were in software engineering. What got you into the industry in the first place?
So honestly, I was really probably like a lot of college students, very unsure about what they wanted to do. So for a certain time, I thought I wanted to be a businesswoman, thought I wanted to be a doctor, like teetering back and forth, trying to find my path. But then a family friend actually told me, who was like 10 years older than me, he's actually my older brother's friend, was like, take a CS class. And my immediate response was like, nah, like that's not for me. Like that's for the nerds. Like, nah, no, that's not for me.
Yeah.
And he was like, just do it. Just take the one class. If you don't like it, you can just quit it. I took the class, it kicked my booty, but I like the challenge of it. And I like that feeling of like finally getting it working and like feeling like,
That
queen of the
rush.
kingdom. Yeah, rush. And so I decided to change majors in my third year and just make it happen.
That's awesome. So you ended up majoring in computer science.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And from there, did you go straight to Spotify or have you bounced to different companies?
So one thing that's kind of interesting about me, each company I've stayed at for about 4 years. I just started at Spotify, but I originally started my career in a small consulting firm out of DC, out of the DC area. And then I went to a startup because I wanted something different. I wanted to be able to focus on one product. And then from there, I decided to go to a bigger company with Spotify.
Did you start in management at Spotify, or were you also a manager at your previous employers?
So it's funny because with the consulting world, I don't know if have either of you ever done consulting?
I have.
Yes.
It's you wear a lot of hats.
All the hats, even hats I probably shouldn't be wearing, if I'm being quite honest.
That's
correct. So like even in my first job, I got some like management experience. And then when I went to the startup, by the time I was about to leave, I was a senior backend engineer and I was a team lead, which was awesome. But this is the first time I'm wearing the engineering manager hat like full time and being like fully responsible
awesome.
for hiring and all that stuff like that.
Yeah, team lead to engineering management. I feel like they have a very thin line between them where there's definitely some shared duties there.
Yeah, because even when I was tech lead, like I did a lot of recruiting, but like the difference there was that my VP of engineering had the final say, whereas now I
Right.
have the final say on who gets to be hired and whatnot, which is nice.
What has been the toughest part of hiring for you? Because I know for me, I just feel bad saying no to people if they are just like so close in the interview but not quite, and it aches my heart.
That it's like I feel like, and it makes sense because obviously you don't want to send somebody through a ton of interviews, but I feel like you have such limited information to be able to make that decision with.
Right.
And sometimes like I even just really like the person as a person. I was like, wow, I really enjoyed chatting with that person, but they're not a good fit for my team. And then so one of the hard things is like you said, like having to turn them down. But then two, I can find it really difficult to find the perfect fits for my team, not even like on the technical side, but then people that are also empathetic and people that are willing to work well with others and such things. So finding that good fit can be difficult as well.
Yeah, it's so hard because you also don't want to like say, oh, they check most of the boxes, and then you throw them in the deep end, and then it was a poor choice. It's such a tough
I
balance.
actually literally just went through that. I had a candidate who wanted to be a back-end engineer, but they're only done front end. And then so I was trying to convince like my manager, like, no, I could just hire them. We'll teach them Java. It'll be good. And they were like, you were throwing them in the deep end. Like they're expected to perform at this level. And I had to realize that I'm actually doing them a disservice by doing that.
Right.
So I had to say no.
Yeah. Oh, it's so hard.
So hard.
It's so hard.
We do what we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a different side than people see. I think it's popular to look at the other side of the table on interviewing, on how difficult it is to be the interviewee, and it is. But being an interviewer and having to figure out how do we make sure that this person is the right fit for our team, the right ad for our team, and that you can set them up for success is just as challenging.
Absolutely. I agree.
Okay, we are going to go into the rapid fire questions. We will be asking you questions rapidly, and we'll see how fast we go. Okay, first one. We all have a domain name or 10 or project idea that we're squatting on. What are yours?
What's funny is that I don't know if this makes me less of a developer, but I don't have any. I've cleaned them all up. In quarantine,
Good for you.
Ooh.
I got that money back in my pocket.
That's so smart.
There you go.
So smart.
All right. What is the most recent thing you over-optimized?
Ooh, that would probably be processes for my team. Like, I felt like, I started my first EM job. I wanted to do everything great. So I took a bunch of feedback and just tried to do too much. It's like iterate small iterations are better instead of trying to do too much too fast.
Yeah, teaching someone an entire system or a team an entire system is not easy. Humans are tough.
It's like, I don't know if you've seen the meme where the guy, I think he's like smoking a cigarette with a cup of coffee, and he's at the board trying to like explain it. I was like, that was me trying to explain.
Oh yeah, we're just he's trying to get a cover. And then you'll go through this flywheel and then this workflow.
Everything will be fixed. It's like,
Okay, what is your golden rule for coding?
Ooh, don't gold plate. That probably doesn't sound like, that's not like well put, but I feel like in the beginning of my career, I wanted to gold plate everything. But I feel like, done is better than perfect. And then you can just, again, iterate on it and continue to improve it. Big on those MVPs.
Yeah, the MVPs. It's so easy to want to be just like, I will make this scale, so someday if it goes viral, I'll be able to like be more scalable than Twitter. And your side project probably doesn't need to be.
You're doing too much.
That's fair. What is your favorite "it depends" question?
Ooh, this isn't tech related, but when somebody asks me which whiskey is my favorite, it very much depends on my mood and what I'm feeling.
Oh.
I have a lot of questions about this before we move on. So when you say your mood and stuff, is it just that it's a different flavor or it has a different effect or what goes into whiskeys as someone who is ignorant of all things whiskey?
No, it's fine. So flavors is one, but then also like the bite and the smokiness are actually big things for me. Like there are some whiskeys that I have in my collection but it's like a good bite. And so it's like, comes on a little stronger. You can feel the tingle down to your tummy, but it's almost like being wrapped in a warm blanket. Sometimes I just want that depending on my day. Other times it's like lighter and it's like, more, not digestible, but it's like, smooth sailing. And sometimes I need that as well.
I want to pivot this to the whiskey podcast and just ask all the questions about this, but we don't have time.
The next episode.
Yeah, this episode is just going to be a completely different show. What is the oldest piece of tech that you still own?
Probably my black and white Game Boy.
Yes.
Or actually, no, I think this was before. The Sega Genesis. I have a Sega Genesis as well.
Dang, both of those are just pieces of gold. That's awesome.
And I have 2 young nephews, so unfortunately I don't have them at my house. I have them at my mom's house because I want to one day introduce them to it so they can play it.
And be just like, appreciate history.
Yeah. Or
have them start.
What is this crap? It's so fuzzy.
Doesn't matter.
Boy, it'd
It's
be
gonna
happy.
be so nice. I feel like I want to do that with like a Tamagotchi. Just like give that to someone younger, like
Yeah.
a niece or a nephew, and be like, here you go. Do with it what you
Keep it
will.
alive.
Keep it alive.
I feel like that could be great. I can't decide if they will like love it or hate it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Although
Yeah.
I feel like Tamagotchis have made kind of a comeback. Like they make new ones now with backlit screens and colors. It's
They
wild.
do?
Yeah.
Oh my
I saw
gosh.
them at like Target the other day when I was shopping for something else, and I almost bought it. I resisted, but I'm so curious about them.
All right, we'll have to get one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Have you ever written a cringy piece of code? And if so, do you care explaining it a bit?
Who amongst us has not? If anyone says they have
I know.
not,
Yeah.
they are lying and should not be trusted.
I'm lying.
That's so true.
Probably the cringiest piece of software I've ever written was in that consulting job again. Again, my first job out of college. And I thought that I wanted to pivot because at first I was a C#.NET developer and I was like, oh, I'd like to be a data engineer. Again, still trying to figure out my life. They put me on this project where I did have the opportunity to become a data engineer, but I was the only data engineer.
Oh no. Oh no.
They bought me a book and just said, like, read it and figure it out.
Go.
So, like, until the more senior engineers get here, and they never came, at least for like the first couple of months. So I had to write the first like data pipeline and everything.
Oh gosh.
And it was just, reading my little book, Googling where I could, and just a bunch of if statements and just
Oh.
it was a little
Is
rough.
this machine learning?
Literally, like it got the job done, but I can't remember how many days it took to like run and everything. It was not efficient at all, but we
Gosh.
got the data over there eventually.
That's what matters. And
There
I
you
feel
go.
like with consulting too, Zach has also done consulting. We've been there. Sometimes the clients want things and you're just like, you shouldn't want this, but you have to do it anyway. And so you just kind of do the unholy things and you're just like, just take it.
Look
And then
away.
it's sold as like bleeding edge.
Right. Like,
You're the expert at this.
It's so great.
it's like, I guess.
Yeah, if you say so. Okay, what is your favorite programming pun?
Ooh. How does it go? When I wrote this, only God and I knew how it worked, and now only God knows.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I had to
Very
do
true.
that today actually, where it was, there's like that meme of like, don't edit this code, and it had like a comment of how many hours spent on this. I did the exact same thing in something today, only it was like how many engineers have wasted their time trying to fix this. It got up to 7 today, which is not great. And it's very relevant to that.
Dang it.
Happens.
Yeah.
And then last one, what is your most used emoji?
Probably between the purple heart. My friend said I'm very known for that. I do that a lot.
I do associate the purple heart with you. Yeah.
It's like, I guess, another trademark. And then probably the crying emoji, but it's happy because me and my friends like have great senses of humor. And so we're always just laughing until we cry all day, every day.
That's the best time of the best type of crying and the best type of laughing when you
Right.
get to that point. So I love that. Okay, our next segment is the random segment generator. There will be segments, they are random. What they will be, who knows. The first one is what you're proud of. What's something that you've shipped or created in your career, in your personal life, whatever, that you're very proud of?
The number one thing that I am proud of is Black Code Collective. So I started it and I didn't think that it was going to get as much traction as it did. It was more so myself having like a bad couple of weeks and whatnot and feel like I didn't have the community around me and finding other people that had the same experience and created it. But hearing people say how much of an impact it's had on their careers and their lives and stuff like that has really meant a lot to me. And so I'm pretty proud of that.
That is so great. Having a community, especially when there isn't one, because of obvious reasons in the tech industry. It's so important to have that, and so I'm proud that you are a community leader too, and I'm so glad that you've made that.
Thank you, Cassie.
And moving on to the next random segment, merge conflict. So, tell us about a merge conflict that you've dealt with in the past and how you overcame it. It could be code or people related.
Oh, I didn't think about the people-related example.
Yeah.
How would that even work?
Sometimes they're even harder than the code ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I definitely have all
That's
the
so true.
conflicts. And the funny thing is I'm trying to like call a merge conflict like tech-wise to mind, and I can remember the moment where I was getting assistance from my team trying to figure it out, but I cannot remember what the issue was. And I feel like that's true trauma. You know, it's like it was really
Yeah, you've blocked it out.
I blocked it out. I literally remember my manager standing over my shoulder and was like, "How did it get like this?" I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't
Don't ask.
just know. So I know it was at my last job, but I honestly can't remember an example for that one. Now I'm trying to think people-wise. Ooh. Because like a merge conflict is like, with people. I can't think of one. But I know there has to be one out there.
There's got it might be one of those things where you blocked it out too. Honestly, stressful.
Honestly, it is part of my my coping mechanism. My therapist says I'm a great suppressor, just like it never happened.
It's just like for better or for worse. Well, that is fine with me because the next segment is the mild panic trivia fun game. We have to quickly ask a question or rapidly compliment each other. Taylor, you're going to do me. I will do Zach. Zach, you will do Taylor. Ready, set, go.
Do I start?
Yes.
Okay, Cassidy, I love how you are unapologetically yourself. I love that you're quirky, funny, and also give back to the community, but also are very welcoming.
Thank you.
Aw.
Wow, that made my day.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that
You're
so
welcome.
much. Zach, what's something that you're excited about in the next week or so?
I am going to get a puppy. I've been deprived of a dog my whole life. Parents, if you're watching, that was directed towards you. But I am getting a puppy this Saturday, driving up to near Minneapolis, and I'm so excited and nervous.
That's so exciting.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Also, nervous, you'll be fine.
Probably.
Can I ask what kind
Might
of
be a
dog
little
it is?
sleepless at first.
It is an English Springer Spaniel.
Ooh, nice.
So
cute. So that's the
Yeah.
fluffy ears, right?
yeah, the fluffy, like, long ears. Kind of looks like a Cocker Spaniel, I guess. Is probably the more commonly known one, but I
Wow.
don't know too much about dogs.
It's okay.
My partner chose the dog, so
It's fine.
I was
It's
like,
fine.
it's cool.
And what will be the dog's name?
Ooh.
Sorry, I know it's your turn.
Oh,
but
it's Roan or Roni
Roan.
for a nickname. So
Roni. I like
Yeah.
that. It's so cute.
maybe we'll see Roni on a future episode. We'll see.
Okay, Roni.
Okay, Taylor, I love your collection in the background. Is that all whiskey? I'm also like very
It's
liquor illiterate.
it is indeed
I
all
just-
whiskey. I'm not gonna
Oh.
lie. I keep telling myself now that like I'm willing to have friends over. We're not quarantined. I need to get some non-whiskey options in the house because I don't have. I was like hoarding like a bottle of vodka and a bottle of gin that somebody brought over one time for if other people want it. But then I found out the gin goes bad. Vodka stays good for like forever. So we have vodka somewhere in a
Oh.
closet in here, but not on these cards.
And
It
which
just
one's
looks
your
so
favorite?
aesthetically pleasing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that too.
Thank you. So my favorite on the card are like, so I have another bar out here that you can't see right now. This house is full of whiskey. That was my mom's biggest complaint when she helped me move. And it's because you don't think about it. I have like hundreds of bottles and they're so heavy. You have to pack them up.
Oh, yeah.
But are we favorite one on the card or in the house?
In general, I'm
Oh.
curious.
That
And I'm sure you mentioned it varies based on your mood, so...
I love the Old Elk Distillery. Also love Japanese whiskey is like pretty tasty. It's tasty, especially the Nika. I
Ooh,
don't
huh.
have it in here, but my brain just poofed. Oh man, what is the name of that dang whiskey? I can see the bottle. Terrible. I am so. Oh, my friend. Actually, you know what? Another bottle popped in my. My friend bought me this really nice bottle of King George the Fourth, which is like exquisite. It's like perfect.
Wow. I am writing all of these down so I can Google all of them.
Yeah.
I am very ignorant when it comes to whiskey,
It's
but
okay.
it seems like such a cool culture.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like people who are into whiskey are really good at identifying the different notes in it and like how it was made. And I love learning about that kind of stuff. It's so interesting.
Yeah, and for my birthday every year, I make my friends sit through a whiskey presentation, and so they can get like indoctrinated.
Oh, I want to do this whiskey presentation.
Yeah, come on
I feel
over.
like I need that like
I would like to
beginner.
witness this.
My birthday's in January. Come to my house.
Perfect.
Perfect. We'll have a beginner class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that is so fun. Okay, we are moving on to this final section of Cassidy's sage advice. And my advice for you today is to be empathetic. I think a lot of times, especially in the tech world, it's very black and white, where it's just like, this is the code, this is the logic, this is how we do X, Y, or Z. And that's not always the case, both in code and also just when you're working with different teams and different people. And as you're exploring your career and moving up in the world, choosing which track you want to be, figure out how you can be a good community member and a good manager, a good teammate to your teammates and fellow workers around you, whether they're in your company or out, because you never know who you might help, and it could really change the trajectory of your career. You never know. That being said, Zach, Taylor, thank you so much for being with us today. This was so fun.
Thank you for having me.
Love this.
I honestly felt like I was just chit-chatting with old friends, so that's exactly the type of interview I want.
That's the best kind, because then you don't realize time has flown by so fast.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Taylor, where can people find you on the internet? Anything you want to plug?
The Twitterverse. At engineering_bay is me on Twitter.
Love
I
it.
don't know how well that's going to age over the next couple of decades, but you can find me there. If you're into whiskey, check me out on Instagram at womanwithwhiskey. And yeah.
That is awesome.
That's a great handle to catch.
Thank you.
Yeah. It feels like ripe for side projects too, and I started brainstorming. Mustn't buy the domains. No.
Actually, you just planted it. See, I should buy that domain because I want to create a site to suggest whiskey to people. Because folks often ask me like my favorites and stuff like that, and I want a site just to do it.
Yeah, you could do like a decision tree thing. All of those if statements will come into play.
Oh, there you go.
It all comes full
Data
circle.
engineering.
Look at me go.
Look at you go. And once again, because making podcasts is expensive, this show is brought to you by Launch Darkly. Launch Darkly toggles peaks of 20 trillion feature flags each day, and that number continues to grow, and you should use them. You can head over to launchdarkly.com and learn about how. Thank you for making this show possible, Launch Darkly. I've been Cassidy Williams. You can find me at Cassidoo, Cassidoo, on most things, and I'm CTO over at Contenda.
And I'm Zach, and I'm a dev rel at Arrive, and you can find me on Twitter at Zach Plata.
Thank you for tuning into the Dev Morning Show at night. Make sure you head over to our YouTube channel where you can like and subscribe. You can also listen to the audio version of this wherever you get your podcasts.